What's up, everybody? Welcome to the P&E show. I'm Edwin.
And I'm Phil, and we're here to give you all the physical education you need.
So we just wrapped up the 10-part Jordan documentary this past Sunday. My thoughts on it, man, I liked it a lot. I really like how they shot everything, how they put everything together. I'm not necessarily sure we learned anything new from Jordan besides, I'm not going to lie, that was probably the most I've ever heard him talk.
Easily.
Besides, a post game, it actually gave us an insight of how his personality really was. I mean, you already figured how determined and motivated he was while he was playing, but just his train of thought and one thing that I would really like to know is who's on his hit list.
He was saying people that was on the hit that made his hit list. He was telling you.
I think it was a lot bigger than what
it was a whole bunch more people. I promise you. Anybody that I promise Kobe made his hit list when they were talking about he's the next Jordan. He was like, I'm gonna kill this kid every time we play. Because from what I remember, he always got the best of Kobe when they used to play. It was a rare moment. So you were tuned in, and I definitely was a fan of all of it. I liked how they went back and forth to go back. And I liked it so much that in the last episode when it didn't happen as much, I was a little sad, but I knew that it was ending and this is what the culmination was. But I was like, just go back. Go back.
Yeah. One thing I did take away from the series too is how tough Pippen was after the game. He hurt his back, or not after the game, but during the game when he hurt his back, that closeout game. I was like, man, I got much more respect for Pippen.
I feel like Pippen needed that in this episode, these last two episodes, to show like how much of a team player he was, because them first couple episodes was rough on Pip, and then you didn't even hear from him like in the later stages. And the later stages of the stuff you did hear from him were just cuts like, I didn't want to mess up my summer. I was like, oh, that's not good, Pip. Why'd you say that, bro?
And then when he didn't want
to, you've been in the game too long.
And then when against the Nets, when he didn't want to check in because he wasn't getting the ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Pip needed this. Pip needed this redemption, so to speak. Especially because Pip kind of talks out of pocket still every now and then. Like every now and then, whether the stuff is true or not, you hear like, I think I seen something that said LeBron will be better than me when he gets 6 rings, and I was like, I don't know, bro. He's kind of like an all-around better player than you. You're great. You're great. But he's a different monster. But I was saying, what I wanted to say was, I definitely agree with Jordan how he said, people are gonna think I'm an asshole. Yes, I definitely think you are, but it's not in the bad way that you think. It's like, you have to be you have to take it to a certain amount of, I don't know if assholism is a word, but a certain amount of, to take it there with your peers, your fellow players, like anything, like, for instance, me and you, when we working on stuff, sometimes we have to take it there and hash things out and be like, all right, bro, you good? Yeah, I'm good. I needed to hear that. I needed that punch in the mouth. Thanks.
It's one thing to be an asshole, but it's another thing to be an asshole because of the greater good. And that's one thing I think his former teammates, Horace Grant aside, said that he was a great teammate.
Like, you can't beat that. Like, I could see if he was yelling at him and he's like, I'm just Michael Jordan. Like, I'm Michael Jordan. Like, okay, what does that mean? You're Michael Jordan. You won a few. Like, he still had to keep up and be the best player. Like, and he had to talk that trash to stay in other opponents' heads. Like, y'all already know what this is. That was cute. You scored 40. I dropped 55.
And what's amazing about the documentary was, man, I think they averaged somewhere close to like 10 million viewers a week.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I tuned in live every week, and some of those times I was live driving. People say it's dangerous, but if they shouldn't make Hulu available for, I mean, never mind. Let's not even say that because that. I still need Hulu to work while I'm driving. I
Yeah.
caught I caught some finals games driving like that, boy. I was watching the Super Bowl in the not to get off track, but Super Bowl in the lift on the way over to because I got left. I was faded. But yeah, I just think like it to me, I learned a lot, even though I knew a lot of this stuff. Like I didn't, I was a little bit younger than you, so like some of this, I'm just like, oh, I remember this. Like I kind of started paying attention to basketball probably like 94, 95. So those earlier seasons where I was like, oh, he beat the Lakers. I mean, I knew that, but like to see it, I was like, hey man, I'm a Lakers fan now. Like I wasn't in 91, kind of pissed me off. I was like, don't you do Magic like that.
Oh, he did him like that. I mean,
Fucked him.
I like how just how everything came about and how they formed the dream team, and that was like the greatest team ever assembled, and how he just hated Isaiah Thomas and made sure that he wasn't on the team.
And wasn't in like his hate isn't past tense. Like if you listen to the words that he said, I watched those episodes a few times. He was like, I hate him. It wasn't I hated him. He was like, I hate him.
Hate him.
Like Jordan will carry a grudge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like him and Charles got into it a few years ago, and they haven't spoken since. Charles Barkley was saying.
I was just gonna say another thing that I took away from the documentary was that nowadays we get on players for being friends off the court, and how we think that takes away from the rivalries, away from the game. But if you notice in that last episode, Karl Malone went to the bus and shook Jordan's hand and the rest of the team, and
And that made me respect Karl Malone a lot more than I really do because I don't like him.
hey, me either. I never did like him. And one thing I'm mad at that didn't show was when Scottie Pippen. I don't know if you remember, but when Scottie Pippen, when they played the Jazz in the finals, and he was like, "The mailman don't deliver on Sundays."
Yeah, I do remember that. That
Yeah,
was a pretty
and they didn't
classic
show it.
clip. I can't believe they didn't show it.
They
I
didn't
wonder
show it.
why.
I was kind of mad.
Probably
I mean,
because it's been played so many times. But they could have put it in
whatever.
there.
That
I
was
guess they didn't want to. They didn't want to throw salt in Carl's wound. He had to relive it.
2 years in
Although Patrick Ewing was saying I didn't watch that shit. He was like, I'm not reliving that. Like
a
I had to do it. I had to be there when it happened. I was like, yeah, that's kind of crazy, Pat. And but
He's still
I
salty.
like that. I like that Jordan is revered because nobody else ate while he was working to get his. Like he took them 2 years off, and Elijah Wan showed that he was one of the better players in the league because nobody else was getting those two. He wanted them.
Yeah.
And hell, even Charles Barkley tried to slide over there the next year, and they couldn't get it done. I would have liked to see them face that Jordan team, not Utah. That's what I was thinking watching the documentary. I was like, oh my gosh, they had Elijah Wan and Barkley. Oh, I mean, there was an older Elijah Wan and an older Barkley, but hell,
They were still
still,
they were still eating.
yeah, yeah, that would have been a better matchup. That
Yeah.
Utah team, the '96 Utah team was nice. I mean, the '98 Utah team.
Oh yeah, no, they was nice. Uh I thought they would have put up a better fight. Well, all the games were close except for that third game. But
Yeah, they smacked them.
yeah, I just thought that first year when they played the Jazz in '97, yeah, they weren't ready.
Nah, I was like, this their first time here. They haven't been hurt, but the second time, I'm not gonna front. I kind of was rooting for the Jazz until I knew it wasn't. But after the third game, I was like, oh yeah, they have no chance. Let's go, Bulls. But I was only reason I wasn't rooting for the Jazz was for Karl Malone. Like at the I didn't want Karl to win. Even as a Laker fan, I didn't want Karl to win when he came to us. But that's just personal. Just personal
Uh,
between me and Carl. He
yeah,
knows why. You know
Carl
why,
didn't
Carl.
either. Not a real big Carl fan either. I ain't gonna lie, I did like John Stockton and Jeff Hornacek though.
I love John Stockton and Jeff Hornacek's game.
I just didn't like their shorts, but that's a different subject, I guess.
Was a big fan of Jerry Sloan.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But if Jordan never retired for them 18 months, Olajuwon would have never got those two.
Nah, I honestly think like how he said we would have got that seventh one if we would have went the next year. I honestly think if he wouldn't took those 2 years off, like mental fatigue is a thing, and they take time off and all of that, but that competitive drive that he showed me, there's no way he wouldn't have been in the finals, especially if they were choosing other people as MVP.
And I think them losing in the '95 playoffs to the Magic.
Yeah,
I think that
yeah.
was only because he had a month to get in game shape. Like,
Bro, he came back at the end of the season and they still got to the Eastern Conference Finals or the semis.
semis.
And that's still impressive. But that I think fueled his fire. Because even that they were saying like the Space Jam, like I gotta have this, this, and this, and this to even play. Even I was watching something else that was funny. Bill Bellamy. Funny you say that. Bill Bellamy actually was telling a story about how he got invited to the Dome to play because he was in LA at the time. He was early '90s. He was doing his thing, so he invited Mike invited him to play, and he was just saying how Mike passed it to him, and he was kind of in awe. And Mike was talking trash, like, "What you gonna do with it, Bill? Bill, give it back if you don't know what to do with it, man. You'll know." And I was just like, just to hear stories like this, I'm like, man, everybody should have a Jordan story or tell their Jordan story. It's
Yeah.
almost like Tupac. Everybody wants to hear these stories.
You see that story where the Pizza Hut driver denied the.
Yeah, he said it was fake.
Yeah, you keep freezing. So
Yeah, I glitched out on that one. I'm sorry. I have AT&T internet.
Oh yeah, I do too. It's terrible.